Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
Well, I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathers. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad. Good morning to you. How are you?
George Lopez joins us right now. George, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What looking to talk? Give me funny, lad.
Megan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Chloe Bailey joins us. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Luke, thank you so much for taking the time. Congratulations on the film. I know it's called Weekend in Taipei, but I could have spent a whole week. You know what I mean? I could have used all 7 days on this one. It was a great movie. Congrats.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, weekend. Yeah, it was 3 months actually.
Well, but what I was talking to the director George earlier, and what I loved about this, I've always loved action movies. It's my genre. It's my comfort food. It's what I go to. But what I really loved about this one is it is more layered than what the typical action movie might be. All the characters have more than one layer on them. I mean, the first thing we see from your character is you're asking for a cigarette and you're holding a goldfish. I don't know how you don't read that in a script and go, I'm all the way in.
Well, it sort of was. I literally read that scene and I was like, this is genius. I could see Luc Besson's stamp over the scripts from like the second I turned the page, and George with his Taiwanese and American upbringing, brought so much to it as well. It just, it all just worked. It just worked, and it was. I love that little detail, the detail of him picking up this goldfish, and then the flashbacks and all that stuff. It's very fun. It's really fun, and I enjoyed it. I like John Lawler. I think he's a great guy.
No, I mean, and to me, again, when you have an action movie, which look, the genre is well established. They're the beats that you have to go through, or we as the audience want to go through when watching an action film. But I'm assuming that having done that before, you're always looking for something a little bit more you can chew on. And the complexity of the characters, having the flashback, and then Sung, who plays such a great villain and a dynamic villain at that, really adds a lot to this movie that isn't in a typical action film.
Yeah, you're right. And I think what I like about John is that he's an everyman. He's relatable, right? You get him straight away. He's reached his 40s. He hasn't got married. He hasn't got a kid. He lives to work. It's everything he has. He's very good at it. He's not a trained fighter, but if you put him in a kitchen with 20 gangsters, he'll find his way out of it. He looks at life. He takes everything in his stride until this huge thing happens, and all of a sudden, like, he's really, he kicked out of gear, and he has to reassess everything in his life and what is his priority and what should he choose to do with this problem or issue that's presented to him. I liked him because I think people will relate to him, and he has got an understated charm. There's humor to him, and I love the line in the car when he goes, my son goes, I thought you were dead. And I was like, well, give your mother 5 minutes and she'll take care of that, because she's driving like a lunatic. It's the kind of thing I would say. So it's sort of, it was very well written, and it just jumped off the page.
You know, I know you spent a lot of time early in your career on stage, in the theater. And my question is, in the theater, you have to have a very physical performance. It's not only about dialogue, it's about projecting to the back row, making sure every emotion is seen by everybody in that theater. And I'm wondering if that skill translates into an action film, to whereas not so much for the dialogue, but for the physicality of the performance, you have to use your body in order to tell a story without the dialogue.
Yeah, and I think what's really when I do fight sequences or you do action movies, I think it's super important that the character is seen in the physicality of the fights. I think because you don't stop being yourself when you have to fight someone or survive something. You are more yourself than any other time in your life, probably. And I loved that we really embraced decisions John would make in a kitchen fight sequence, and really, hang on to that, because as an audience, you want to keep seeing that person, you want to see that character, and you want to see them grow, and never should they ever lose them, on screen. That's how I feel about it.
Now, with Kwong, the character Sung, who plays him, is such a great villain, and I've always been a James Bond fan for my entire life. And what I always loved about villains is not only are they dastardly, but there's some sort of physical trait in the Bond films that they possess. And I thought that Sung did a great job with the hair and the tattoo, and it really translates as kind of this iconic villain. Now, you have been able to play a protagonist in this film, but an antagonist in others. Is there a preference for you of what's the more fun thing to portray, or do they both have their pros and cons?
I think you bring the fun in whatever you do. I think, you don't have to be the good guy or the bad guy. I think the fun is in the challenge. The fun is in the representation of what you're taking on, and this job is fun. It's immensely fun, and I love doing it. And every job I do, whether it's a good guy or a bad guy or whatever guy, the challenge is the exciting part. Yeah.
Well, this movie was exciting, like I said, from beginning to end. I really, really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Again, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Take care.